We got trolled a lot during National Signing Day. Jaiden Francois, Justin Flowe, and then of course Romello Hyde. How does Miami keep from being in these situations?
I mean, the best way to do it is to win on the field. If you win on the field, I think of those three guys, to be honest with you, I think you might have still lost Francois. It felt to me like he was kind of looking for an excuse not to come to Miami. Romello Height, he had been linked to Auburn for a while, even though he's still committed. Technically, to be honest, I think if you had one on the field, the guy of those three that you would keep would have been Justin Flowe. Like, as crazy as it sounds, they were actually in a good position with him. Similar to the Jaiden Hazelwood situation last year, just the product on the field was so bad that they weren't going to risk their career and their livelihood on a school that's put in such a bad product on the field. It sounds simple, but that is the best recruiting you're going to do, and that's the best way to turn this around.
Okay. So, and you answered that pretty good, but I had a problem with, Jaiden Francois. This is how I saw this situation going down. He decommitted, came back. Decommitted, came back. And then when it was time for early signing day to come, he said, well, I don't want to just commit to Nebraska. I got to have another team to put up against Nebraska. Because I feel like now with Twitter and with social media, it's all a show for a lot of the prospects. It's not fun to a lot of them just going up there and saying, hey, I'm committed to Nebraska. So my thing is, why doesn't Miami just put out the word, hey, we're not recruiting Jaiden Francois? Or do you think that we're at the point right now where Miami needs to get as many prospects as possible because we need help?
Yeah, they're really big. The issues on the field, losing to FIU, losing to Duke, put them in such a tough spot because they're not in a position to look. Francois is very talented, even though the off the field stuff is concerning. Anyone who commits and decommits that much, there's going to be some concerns there. But he is extremely talented on the field. You're not really in a position to tell that kid no. That's the issue. I mean, I think what they could have done is when they secured Jalen Harrell, someone else to fill that role at safety, they could have said, you know what, you missed your chance. We're done. We're going to move on. But they didn't, which, it's a little disappointing because it feels like we go through this almost every year where they keep being played. I mean, they got to have a better awareness of it. But once again, like, the best way to deal with it is to win on the field. But you're right. They should have a better awareness. They should need to know when to pull the plug and stop recruiting someone like that.
Okay, so you look at saying that we need to improve on the field, and that has to do with a lot of the recruiting, and that's of course. But what do you say to? This guy, he's going to a Nebraska team that just won 5 games.
Yeah, that's why I said it felt to me like he was looking for an excuse not to come here. He decommitted thinking that Ohio State, Penn State, and Florida were going to be hard on him. But to be honest, his senior tape, he took a step back from his junior film. His junior film was extremely impressive. He set a Dade County record in interceptions. His senior year, took a step back, and he almost took for granted that those guys were going to still come after him. They didn't, but that's what he was counting on. But that didn't stop him not wanting to be at Miami, that's just what it was.
Okay, when it's all said and done, who has the better career at Miami? Now, I know this is way down the line, but Don Chaney or Knighton, who has the better career at Miami?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm a big fan of both guys. If you're gonna make me pick, I'm probably gonna say Don Chaney. I think he's got a little bit more upside, even though I think Knighton is probably I think it might not be more college ready physically, but I think he's going to have an easier adjustment because he played with better talent and against better talent than someone like Cheney, who was at a smaller football program at Belen. So I think Knighton might start off a little better, but Cheney I think has more upside because I think he's more athletic.
What would you say when somebody asks the question, what's the difference between a 4-star and a 5-star? Because when I look at both of those guys, obviously I'm biased, I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan, but those guys look like 5-stars to me. What's the difference between a 4-star running back and a 5-star running back in your opinion?
It's nitpicking, honestly. Like, you get guys at this caliber going against the quality. Look at someone like Jaiden. Look at the quality of defense that he goes against every time he steps on the field down here. And without a great offensive line, Deerfield's a good, strong program, but they don't put out offensive linemen like that. They don't have a great offensive line. Honestly, I guess maybe some athletic testing numbers, maybe some production, maybe waiting out in the process a little more, maybe. But I think it's nitpicking, and really don't care what they're rated. You're not going to find a better duo of running backs than what Miami brought in.
Okay, so with those two guys, I mean, I'm excited about both of them. Like you said, I don't think you could go wrong with picking either one of them.
The way he hits the hole, and he's really hard to bring down. He's a small guy, low center of gravity, and if you don't come, to take him down lower.
It's looking bad right now for Utah. And right now, even if they come back, there's no way they're making the playoffs.
If doing any of these guys any favors, and we're never going to get better if we keep on playing musical chairs. And the way it looks like it's going, it looks like we're going to keep on doing the same thing going into the spring. And it looks like the same thing might happen next season. So I just want the starting quarterback to be named so that starting quarterback can actually learn, grow, and develop instead of having the quarterback competition every week. And, I mean, it's not all his fault. I mean, N'Kosi Perry, I think he's better than Jaron. Basically, at this point, I was going to bat for Jaron Williams, but really I just go to bat for whoever's the starting quarterback. But, I mean, I think N'Kosi should be the guy. But the thing with N'Kosi is, like, the coaches, I don't know what it is. The coaches just never really believe in him. He doesn't really get a lot of chances. Like, if he makes a couple of mistakes, he automatically gets benched. And then Jaron Williams, man, Jaron Williams at times, he just looks inexperienced. But, I'm just really frustrated with the whole quarterback situation.
I wonder how good N'Kosi would look if Manny Diaz came out and said, N'Kosi's our guy no matter what, like he did with Jaron. I wonder how N'Kosi – that question needs to be asked. That I wonder if N'Kosi knew 100% that no matter what I did tonight, I'm going to be the starting quarterback, how he would play.
Yeah, and you damage the man's confidence. I mean, the man's confidence has already been hit several times. Although we don't see it, he's made an Instagram post. I don't know if you saw, but he had the selfie in the mirror, and he was talking about how he's just a young kid trying to live life, trying to be happy and things like that. So it's obviously affecting him.
Somebody put a quote out, and it said, somebody tweeted this. They said, Tate Martell has missed several games due to personal reasons. Jaron has missed practice, and he's threatened to transfer. N'Kosi has stood strong from day one.
Exactly. This man, N'Kosi Perry, you can tell the kind of person N'Kosi Perry is, man. Tate Martell, I saw a couple of things about Tate Martell. A couple of people saying he's skipping practices, that he hang out with his girlfriend. I don't know if there's any truth to that or anything like that. But, N'Kosi Perry he's the definition of loyalty, man. And at this point, man, I would have already named N'Kosi Perry the starter. I don't get why we keep playing musical chairs at quarterback, man. It just goes to show you the inexperienced Manny Diaz has of being a head coach, and hopefully he learns. Do you think he'll learn?
I don't know, man, because look, and this is, me, I'm a big Tate Martell fan. I like Tate, and I don't know what's going on with this guy's reputation. I don't know what's going on, but letting him go back and forth, it sets a bad it's a bad look to the team. Letting him go back and forth. Letting Jaron miss practice, Jaron missed practice just because, no personal reason, just because he wanted to miss practice. And And then you let Cleveland, I think it was Cleveland Reed, the offensive lineman, he goes into the transfer portal. Probably didn't get a lot of people wanting his services. I don't know that for fact. But then you let him come back. You go and get Jeff Thomas. And I understood that because you weren't the head coach back then. But JT, you're playing football right now in Florida. If your coach is just letting people quit left and right, what people gonna do? Run over them?
Well, yeah, and it happens on my high school team. I mean, favoritism is everything, man. I remember a couple years ago, we had a talented quarterback, and he got angry at the coaches, cussed them out. Coaches said next man up. He came back a couple of hours later. So, I mean, it just shows favoritism, and it doesn't send a good message to the locker room because coming from a guy like me that has been through some of the similar things, I mean, the locker room, it messes up the locker room because then players feel like it's unfair because that player gets special treatment. Then you got players who want to transfer because things are even. They're not getting the same opportunities, man. So, I mean, it's just a whole – you can tell Manny Diaz inexperienced as the head coach, man. You can just tell, man.
And the thing about it is, the thing about this is, once a coach sets a tone, and he has set a tone. And remember, we're losing some seniors, but this is a fairly young team, especially on the offensive side.
Yeah.
So once you set that tone that you're letting people do whatever they want to, and you're all buddy, you can't just flip the switch.
You become an enabler. You become an
enabler. I don't know if you can come back and say, okay, now I'm going to be a hard ass next season.
The only way you can do that, the only way now that Manny Diaz has set that being the culture is he has to wait for all these freshman guys he recruited to be all the way out the next 4 years and then try to implement it and the next coming class. But I mean, even now,